Well, where are you going to get your protein? Perennial question posed to vegetarians. The same place that elephants and buffaloes and giraffes get their protein, you get out of plant-based food. Grains are loaded with protein. In your diet every day, you need 5% of your calories as protein. Grains are 10% protein. So all the breads that you eat, the dinner grains, rice and barley and millet, have lots of protein. The pastas that are made from whole grains, lots of protein. Legumes, anything that grows in a pod is a legume. Beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils, 25% protein, loaded with protein. Green vegetables. No one ever told me broccoli has lots of protein. It sure does. 15% protein in green vegetables. Nuts are a nice source of protein. People say, oh, I don't want to eat nuts. It makes you fat. Not if you're not running butter, fat, and cheese and egg yolks through your bloodstream. Have a handful of almonds. It's not going to hurt you, and you can use the calcium and the protein for good advantage. Sprouts are a nice source of protein. So are seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds. Lots of protein available. You cannot consume a calorically adequate 2,000 calorie diet made up of grains and legumes and green vegetables, nuts, sprouts, and seeds without guaranteeing yourself 50 grams of high-grade protein. It's in the plant foods. And you don't have to combine grains with legumes. That whole wise tale that they're incomplete proteins is a myth. All plant proteins are complete in and of themselves. Grains are complete protein, beans are complete protein, greens, well, they're all complete. If you want to combine them, that's nice, but have no protein neurosis that if you don't put tofu spread in your whole wheat bread, that is a waste of time. They're all complete proteins all by themselves. And protein from plant foods do not yank the calcium out of your body the way protein from animal foods do. Where are you going to get your calcium? If you're not drinking milk, get your calcium from the same place cows get their calcium. I mean, think about it. Cows don't drink milk. Where do they get the calcium? They get it from green plants. All green plants have calcium in it, and all the broccoli and collards and kale that you eat. Nuts have calcium, seeds, grains. Calcium's in all plant foods. It's easy to get enough calcium, and again, the important thing is that if you're not eating all this concentrated protein in the chicken and the fish, you'll hold on to your calcium and you'll avoid osteoporosis. By the way, the ethnic group with the worst osteoporosis on the planet are the Eskimos. Eat all that fish, they wind up urinating out the calcium. They dug up an Eskimo skeleton of a lady who died 500 years ago in the ice. She had terrible osteoporosis. So what in the world do you eat? Good heavens, he's taken fish away from us and cheese away from us. What is there left to eat? Well, I really think we ought to be basing our diet on grains. Here is a cross-section of a kernel of wheat, but all grains, barley, oats, millet, rye, they're all basically built the same way. Here is the new young wheat plant, and this is the germ, and it's rich in protein and vitamins and minerals and oils, and it's a great source of protein and minerals for us. Here is the starch, the carbohydrate that fuels the little plant. It fuels us just beautifully as well. And all this is wrapped in a layer of bran, the fiber, and it is an excellent package of nutrition for us. Now, who eats grains, you must say? We're not horses. Who eats grains? Well, we do. All the whole grain bread that you're eating has lots of nice protein and fiber in it. And you can have 4 slices of this a day. You will not get fat. It's just carbohydrates and water and fiber, and you'll either burn it or pass it out. I hope nobody is eating white Kleenex bread anymore. If you're going to be eating whole grain bread, get the benefits of all the bran and the protein and the fiber as well. Cereals, nice source of whole grain goodness, and there's lots of good whole grain cereals available in the supermarket these days. This material is called tofu yogurt. I'll tell you about tofu yogurt in a minute. You can cook grains up and add a nut butter like sesame seed butter and turn it into a nice grain loaf, and it takes the place of meatloaf, and you serve it with gravies and sauces. You can take this same grain mixture and mix it up into burger patties and make grain burgers, and it takes the place of hamburgers, and you serve it on a bun with lettuce and tomatoes and sprouts. One nice thing to do is one morning in your kitchen, make up about 50 of these, wrap them in wax paper, and put them in your freezer. Now you got a whole freezer full of burgers. You come time for lunch, whip out a couple, put them in the toaster oven, heat them up, and you got an instant lunch. You don't have to slave over a vegetarian banquet every time. Use your freezer. These foods last a long time. Pastas are a nice source of grain goodness. There's lots of whole grain pastas, corn pastas, oat pastas available these days. Grains can be added to soups. You have vegetable rice soup, bean and barley soup. Wonderful place to get grain goodness into your diet. And a big bowl of this kind of soup and a hunk of dark bread makes a wonderful, nutritious lunch with no cholesterol. Corn is a nice grain. Enjoy it often. Rice is a nice grain. It fuels half the people on the planet tonight. Legumes, wonderful source of protein. 3 tablespoons of this bean salad will give you as much protein as a chicken dinner, but it won't yank calcium out of your bones the way chicken flesh does. The bean family is huge. Lima beans, zucchini beans, navy beans, great northern beans, lots of beans. People say, well, I want to eat beans. Well, they give me gas. The way around that, by the way, is to realize that most of the gas problem comes from a sugar on the surface of the bean called hemicellulose. And hemicellulose is soluble in water. So if you're going to be making bean soup or bean chili, the night before, take the beans, put them in a pot, cover it with water, and let them soak overnight. The next morning, spill off the soaking water, rinse the beans a couple times, and you'll get rid of most of that hemicellulose and stay a lot more socially acceptable to your friends. Lentils, nice source of protein. Soak them, season them, enjoy them. Probably the legume protein that's consumed most by vegetarians is soy protein in the form of tofu. Tofu is found at all supermarkets these days. You buy it with the, it's dated like milk, and you buy the tofu with the date furthest in the future, so it's the freshest tofu. Take it home, open the package, spill off the soaking water, take the block of tofu, put it in a bowl, cover it with water, and you store it in your fridge under water. Every morning just change the tofu water, and it'll keep for a while, but it shouldn't keep that long in your fridge. You ought to use it. Now, some people say, I tried tofu once, yuck, it's bland and yucky, it doesn't taste good. Well, that's because tofu is a raw ingredient. Pastry flour doesn't taste great either until you do something with it. You got to make it into cookies and cakes. Same thing with tofu. What do you do with it? Well, lots of things. It's a great meat substitute. It's a great transition food, even though it's a processed food. You can cube it up and put it in your stir-fried vegetables, and it takes the place of meat. We've got protein here. There's soy protein in the tofu, green vegetable protein in the broccoli, nut protein in the walnuts. There's lots of protein. Serve this over rice and noodles, and you'll get easily the protein that you would out of a meat meal, but without the calcium-losing effect of all that animal protein. Tofu can be cubed up and added to salads. It takes up the place of, it takes up the salad dressing and enhances the flavor of the salad. You can scramble tofu. You can mash it up and add a yellow spice called turmeric and some sesame seed butter, and you put it in your skillet, and it turns into a beautiful scrambled egg substitute that can be served over toast. You can mash up tofu and brown it and turn it into spaghetti and tofu balls. You can make tofu cream pie, tofu cheesecake. This is not a diet of deprivation, let me tell you, by a long shot. This slide is to remind me to tell you that you should not eat all your foods all processed. The more you cook food, the deader it gets. You heat up food and it starts losing vitamin contents, the proteins coagulate, the fats denature. Cooking food devitalizes it. Eat as much of your diet as you can raw and fresh or lightly steamed vegetables. My diet now is about 60-40 raw, 70-30 raw, around there. I can't do a whole raw diet right now. It's not time for me to do that. When I try to do that, I lose weight and start dreaming about potatoes and spaghetti, and so I go back and eat cooked foods. But when I eat all cooked foods, I'm loggy and heavy, and that doesn't feel good either. So think about moving your diet more towards uncooked foods. Vegetables, again, should be lightly steamed or just a quick stir fry and a walk and out. Don't deep fry anything. Keep that food as fresh and vital as you can. I'm here to help dispel illusions. This is the kind of attitude we can no longer afford. We got to stop kidding ourselves about what we are doing on this planet, because our dietary and lifestyles are ripping this planet up. Victor Hugo said, "No army is as powerful as an idea whose time has come." We've got to start living reverently on this planet. We've got to start being gentle with the life support systems upon which we all depend, including the waters and the rivers and the trees and the animals and the earth itself. And changing our diet, along with controlling our population and getting clean energy supplies, controlling our diet is absolutely key. You have that power every time you're in the supermarket or the restaurant. People say, think globally, act locally. There's nothing more local than your dinner plate. And you have the power to make yourself healthier and the planet. If I had to summarize this lecture in a single sentence, it's this. The single most effective thing anybody can do in order to make themselves personally healthier and make this ecosystem more stable and life-preserving is to reduce or eliminate the animal flesh in your diet. It is the single most effective thing that you can do. If we will do that, we will not only ensure a better future for us all, but we will redefine the relationship we have with every creature on this planet.
If you want to know more about transitioning to a healthier diet, please stay tuned for information on available support materials.